Hi everyone, I'm Chris Stewart, Chairman of Eclectic Endeavors. We bring you the Gaming Arts Media and Entertainment Expo, otherwise known as G.A.M.E or Game Expo. We started off in 2009 with the first game convention with a shoestring budget and a loan from a fellow team member to get the event up and running. That first year we learned a lot and we did so many things wrong. Through sheer determination to see G.A.M.E become a success, we continued on into the following years. For several years, we kept coming up short. Our expenses were far higher than our income. As we reached 2013 for G.A.M.E Year 5, we were at a point where we couldn't continue unless it came out in the black. That year, we cleared $5. So, on to Year 6. Each successive year became easier to meet our expenses, and soon we had enough reserve funds that the next year could be planned with 100% certainty. In the beginning, our focus for G.A.M.E was all about gaming, tabletop, RPGs, video games, etc. It was the kind of a convention we wanted. Other conventions provided celebrity guests and activities that were not part of our core focus. As the years continue, we expanded some of our activities, trying to appeal to larger crowds. We hoped to see an increase in attendance and began viewing that metric as a measurement of the success of the event. In 2016, we reached a peak attendance of almost 800 people. We had steady growth each year and felt that we were on the right track. Unfortunately, the following years were the beginning of the decline. 2017, we had a 30% decrease in attendance and revenue. The previous years had left us with enough of a reserve to continue, so we did. Then 2018 decreased another 30%. We looked at our event and tried to figure out what we could do to attract people to the event. What were we not providing that we could add to G.A.M.E that would draw people in? We had said from the beginning that we were not going the direction of Comic-Cons that focused on celebrity attendance and having an event that was only deemed successful based on the guest list. We wanted to stay true to our focus on gaming. We looked to guests that were industry insiders, game developers, comic artists, cosplay stars, etc. We always wanted to have guests that would enjoy being at our event and play games with us, as well as being a guest of honor. In 2019, we were pleased to bring back Keith Baker and Jen Ellis of Together Studios. Years earlier, Keith Baker had been our guest of honor and was one of our favorite guests to hang out with and play games. We also were able to get Satine Phoenix. Satine has many accolades of geek gaming credit. Everyone who heard about Satine coming to G.A.M.E in 2018 was very excited about meeting her and being able to play in 2 games that she's scheduled to run during the convention. We advertised on Facebook and digital billboards in Springfield and the surrounding areas. Despite our efforts to grow the event in 2019, we had yet another decrease of about 30%. It was time to face facts. 3 years of decreased interest were not providing the kind of event the area wanted. We were committed to the same level of work and activities that got us to the peak in 2016, but attendance was shrinking year over year. As 2020 came into being, the plan was that I was going to hand off the reins to new leadership. I personally had reached the limit of effort I could put into the event that started 11 years ago. I thoroughly enjoyed everything over the past many years, but my effort was exceeding my enjoyment as time went on. I talked to Philip Landrigan about taking over the chairman position. At that time, Eclectic Endeavors volunteer staff had begun to shrink as well. People had their own lives that took them out of the volunteer positions they held, and we truly needed more help to keep the event going. As I was planning my departure, John McDonald, who started all this with me back in 2008 when we were doing the planning stages, was also ready to retire from his leadership roles he held. We both planned to help out in the 2020s event, just one more year and then we'd be done. Well, as 2020 came and a worldwide pandemic threw all our lives into chaos, I had a year off and time to reflect on what G.A.M.E Expo had meant to me over the years. This past few years of being off from G.A.M.E also made me realize how much of my time I had been volunteering, and I was able to get back areas of my life. I realized over this time that too much of G.A.M.E was tied to my efforts alone. Not saying that I was working alone. I had a fantastic team, but I'd taken on too much of the work myself. I was running registration, exhibitors, guests of honor, managing, website, print and design, as well as chairman. Over the years, I tried to hand off responsibility to others, but found myself jumping back in to ensure tasks were completed as we had people come and go from various roles. With myself and John leaving, this would mean all of the efforts, as well as running electronic gaming, would fall on Philip Landrigan. John had trained Greg Pullman on how to run the tabletop gaming HQ desk, but even this would have left our 2 officers, Philip and Greg, alone to bring in others to try and get it all up and running after 2 years of having no events at all. I realized that I had not prepared others to take over anything. I realized that once I left, G.A.M.E Expo could change completely and become something I never intended for it. Too much of my DNA was in G.A.M.E, and I didn't want to see it become something else or fall apart simply because we could not find enough people to run everything. I talked to Philip and Greg about all of this, told them that the amount of work I was throwing in their laps was setting them up to fail. I could not do that in good conscience. 2021 was already upon us with these realizations, and conversations were happening. On top of which, the city of Springfield had restrictions in place that would not allow our size of event to take place. These restrictions were not lifted until May, and the August dates we had set with University Plaza were way too close to plan an event. We couldn't do it in 3 months. Plans were set for 2022. We would go back to October, which had been our event month since 2009. This would be our last Game Expo. Better to have one last good event, focus on what we do well, and close out the books. So that's our plan. On October 14th, 15th, and 16th of 2022, we will hold an event that is focused on gaming. We will only have the activities that people are willing to run. Very soon we will have the website open. This last year, we will not be focused on raising funds at all. We will make sure to meet our expenses, and any additional funds after the event is over will be dispersed with the help of the Springfield Regional Arts Council to qualified charities. Some quick points of info that we can share right now about this last Game Expo. Admission to the event will be $10 for the whole weekend or one day. It's all the same. GM's running 4 hours of pre-scheduled gaming will get in free. Volunteers who work at least 2 pre-scheduled shifts, a total of 4 hours, will get in free. We also plan to give back to all our past financial supporters. Exhibitor space will be given away this last year. We have a plan on how we'll be doing this based on a ranking system for the number of years each sponsor or exhibitor has been with us. More to come about that later. So stay tuned for more info. We will have updates on the website and announcements on Facebook. Thank you to everyone for making the past 11 game events memorable, and looking forward to number 12 being a fantastic time for all. Sincerely, thank you. Good night.